Good evening, or afternoon, or whatever it is, wherever you're at. It is January 2nd, 2019. This is Paul Power bringing you Robert Nelson, also known as Bob. And he's going to read from his own channeled works entitled Keys, Love Letters from God. And this is number 17.
The nature of the relationship. You may notice that the last letter was about the relationship. This is about the nature of relationship. Apparently God wanted to take two letters in here to really define the meaning of relationship. So, okay. Understand that as I use the term the relationship, I refer to all relationships, for by their nature they are one. The relationship is the sharing of our kingdom of the state of grace. So this applies to all relationships. In your world you often hear the term dysfunctional or broken relationships. Such is a falsehood. A relationship either is or it is not. Again, no wiggle room there, is there? There are no shades of gray, so to speak, on this matter. You cannot heal a relationship, for it is already whole or it does not exist. However, people's perception may be healed. So now you will find more fulfillment in measuring your lives not in years, rather measure your lives in relationships shared. Previously I spoke of the difference between religion and relationship. While scriptures may help you introduce yourself to a relationship with me, these formats are only writings on parchments and in books. I cannot be held within the covers of a book. Your scriptures are not owner's manuals to me. Now this, frankly, I'm surprised he didn't put these last two lines in capital letters. He did boldface them. But again, our scriptures are not owner's manuals to God, and God is far too simple. He's not too big to be held between the covers of a book. He's too simple to be held between the covers of a book. For these are sources of inspiration which are meant to introduce you to me. However, they do not set the parameters of our shared relationship. So honor the fact that I am alive. The only way to me, then, is in a living process of the relationship. I have at times used the term my son. Simply put, my son refers to my vision of myself, which includes all men, all women, children, plants, animals, nature, weather, your world, the universe, the multiverse, and yourself. Pretty inclusive, huh? For this all describes you and me. See then how completely awesome a being, capital B on being in this case, you really are. The very heart of any relationship is sharing. Simply put, now this part is capitalized in boldface. Simply put, a relationship is an opportunity for you to remember that you are me. And as my friend Paul said recently, you'll notice that he's not making some kind of division or separation between us and him, her. God is saying that we're him. He's not saying between you and as a spark of me, or you as a child of mine.
Well, like a lot of these country preachers like to say, oh, we're all children of God, making it like we're just some childish version, of him and his creation. And he's saying, no, there's no separation. The only separation is that which we make of it.
That's right.
He's not making it.
In fact, I've told people a number of times that a separation in our thinking, a hair's width between us and our Creator, might as well be 10 billion light years in width. Because it's the same damn thing. Separation, end of statement.
You know, I believe a lot of Jesus' teachings were knocked out and not included.
Right. Definitely.
They left out, anything he said about the afterlife or reincarnation, or the separation of, no separation of men and women, which there was a lot of, if you can imagine. Well, hell, we were still going through, great divides and separation in this country up until, well, we're still going through it in some ways. Mm. The point is that I like to use the example to people. One of the clues that was left in and left, that they didn't take out was when Jesus is teaching, and he says, he's just done some miracles. He turns to people and says, you will do these miracles and more. You're meant to do all this and more.
And greater.
So, right there, he put himself with the rest of, virtually all of humanity on the same footing, you see. There's no separation, So, if what he is, what he became, was all open-ended for us to become. So anyway, enough. Let's get on with this.
Okay. So simply put, a relationship is an opportunity for you to remember that you are me. Sharing, then, is the process of clearing blocks to that remembering. Conditions, however, are blocks against that all-important process of sharing. Conditionality in any form arises from the need to control self and others as self. Fear begets the need for walls. These walls often become an endless maze of deception to self and one another. When this next one is again boldface capitalized. When you feel that separation between you and me is even a possibility, this is abuse. For in this delusional state of mind, you will see false images and false imaginings. In other words, you will see yourself as less than you really are, me. In this set of thinking, you are worshiping the false god of fear. Remember those letters, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. Many of you believe in a false god called Lucifer. False gods live only from the power of yours and mine, which you feed them. Without fear in the offering, any false god will die from starvation. Again, he's not saying you got to take on and battle a false god. Starve it. Don't obey it. Fear fuels the separation from me and from yourself. This, my beloved, is delusion. I never created you in order for you to be afraid to be. Wow. I created you as the celebration I am. This is all I've ever wanted for you. How do you celebrate when you're afraid? You don't. You cannot dance to the devil's music. So do not delude yourself into thinking that you can or that you must do so. So this is the lineup of delusion. First, there is the belief in separation between you and me. Then there is the delusion of fear based upon a view of self-deception. Then this gives rise to the need for controls that you impose upon yourself and on anyone around you. These controls can be offered to me by you in a state of delusion, but I will never accept that gift from you. It is not worthy of me to accept it, just as it is not worthy of you to offer it to anyone, not even to yourself. If you ever look at the deception, you will see an ongoing spiraling web of falsehood and resulting servitude. Your term for this is a vicious cycle. This is very accurate, for this is the nature of deception which leeches your lives. However, vicious cycles may become, they can all be broken. So no matter how vicious they are, they can be broken. The false god of fear wants you to believe that you have no choice but to bow and serve. You are created and sustained in freedom, for I am the author of such. I promise you, no God, and he's using the little g word, little g letter for God there, is powerful enough to abridge that which I am. And you and I are the same being. You may give your right of choice away if you wish, but you will do so only temporarily, for you are free to take back your right of choice at any time. Anytime you choose deception, you abuse yourself. Then you offer the same delusional view to your brothers and sisters. This is abuse, for it is a falsehood so foul that you must impose it upon yourself and on one another in order for it to be effective. Abuse is not the way of our kingdom, so the choice is sharing or abuse. Very simple. Again, no wiggle room, people. Abuse is that which is imposed in any method, whether by force or by beguilement. For either way, it is based upon the delusional view of fear rooted in the belief in the separation between you and me and between you and yourself. The word self there is capitalized, the S is capitalized. So he's referring to our true self, our true being, who we really are. When abuse is present, there is no relationship. Of course, you may offer a better vision to yourself. This then you will offer to all around you as well. In so doing, the same is offered to me, and I will accept it as a glorious gift. For this is worthy of you and me as one. If your brother or sister offers you abuse, you are free to accept it or reject it. You may reject abuse without rejecting the one who offers it. You may offer healing of perception to the abuser. You may ask the person to take part in that healing with you. Regardless of the result of such an offer, you do not need to accept abuse as a form of healing or even as a path to healing. Abuse is imposed and as such can never be a path to healing. Imposing in any form is by its very nature abuse. Do not mistake imposition as relationship. You must know that when you maintain a situation that is abusive to you, you do so by choice. That delusional choice is always based on fear. In many cases, there is the fear of losing someone or something. However, the real fear is a feeling of incompleteness at the thought of leaving an abusive situation, which is not responsive to the offer of healing. See the false god here? Fear always offers you the delusional perception that you are incomplete or less than you really are. You do not have to believe such a lie. You are me. This is in boldface capitalized. You are me. You are God incarnated in a form you may share. That's where actually I got this quote from that I use a lot. This is all that is true about you. This, my beloved, is the key to freedom. Only those who are free can share. There you have the heart of any relationship. The qualities you often ascribe to me as to beneficence and caring may also be applied to yourself. These are qualities of souls who are free. In many instances in your world today, you view the term relationship with a romantic or even sexual connotation. Through romance and sex, Though romance and sex are ways of sharing in a relationship, there are infinite ways in which this sharing may take place. The fact that sharing is happening is what is important. So do not limit the sharing of relationships to only include romance or sexual activity. Home, marriage, family, work, play, relationships, creativity, and so many more are opportunities in which to share the relationship. Most important is the relationship you will share with yourself. See, he's more concerned about us getting along with us. He can't be hurt. He wants the best for us. For this is the same which you will share with me and with one another. Many times guilt is offered as a means to controlling others in a relationship. The moment guilt enters the picture, the relationship is replaced by a form of abuse. Guilt opens no doors in our kingdom. It never has, it never will. Guilt is another form of conditionality which offers you a false view of yourself, as do all forms of conditionality. Act in genuine love, and there is no room for guilt. Love never offers false views. It is not capable of doing so. I am the relationship shared. God. You know, I have to think of how many times preachers from the pulpit, whatever version of the Churchianitan faith, will try to use guilt trips to make converts to Christ. And that was never the message. Ever. All they're doing is finding ways to line the collection plate. Sorry to put it that way, but I am putting it that way, and I don't care who agrees or disagrees. I don't care a damn bit. Truth is truth. There's no guilt trips with Christ. There's becoming. There's freedom. If you're not offering yourself fear, you don't need guilt. You don't need walls. You don't need to believe false evidence telling you you're less or separated from God or less than God. Because those are just lies. Believe the truth about us. We're God. Okay, that's it. That's me running my mouth too much.